Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My dear students, I am Murad Agriculture, Senior Lecturer, Department of Agriculture Studies, Milestone College. Today I will discuss Agriculture Studies first paper for class 12, and the chapter name is Cereal Crops Cultivation Method, which is chapter 5, section 1. You can find this chapter on your book, page number 153 to 209. And today I will discuss about the rice cultivation method. Before that, you have to understand that what is cereal crops. Cereal crops. That means you have to understand the characteristics of cereal crops. Cereal crops are grain in size. The examples of cereal crops is rice, maize, wheat, and that all are in Gramini family, and that are annual crops, and their lifetime is 100 to 150 days, and then all maximum cereal crops are grown in field crops. So this is the characteristics of field crops. So now start the cultivation method of rice. First of all, you have to know the scientific name of rice, which is Oryza, O-R-Y-Z-A, Oryza sativa. And then you have to underline this scientific name. Otherwise, you will not get the marks for scientific name. And then the climatic requirements. What is the climatic requirements? Climate. The general temperature for rice cultivation is needed 20 to 35 degrees centigrade, and the humidity should be 75 to 95% humidity. And the climate is moderate, and it depends in different stage like panicle initiation stage, germination stage, but in between 20 to 35 degrees centigrade. And then land selection. What should be the land? What should be the land of rice cultivation? The land should be the land soil is clay soil, clay loam soil, then sandy loam soil, but the best soil is loamy soil. So rice can be produced in different types of soil. If there is any water stagnant condition, rice can be cultivated as well. And then soil pH should be 6 to 6.5, and then that land should be well drained, well irrigated facilities, and fertile, and the productive of the soil. This is the land selection. Then after climate and land selection, then you have to think about the variety of rice. Remember, there will be 3 seasons of rice, which is Aush, then Amon, and then Boru. So in these 3 seasons divided in our all the year, if there is rice cultivated in Aush season, that is called Aush season, Aush rice. If the one variety cultivate in Amon season, that is called Amon rice. Some variety cultivate in 3 seasons, so it can be named as Aush rice, Amon rice, Boru rice. Some example of variety, rice variety is BR1, that is Bangladesh rice, then BRRI 45, which is called Bangladesh Rice Research Institute. Even some variety is IRRI, which is International Rice Research Institute. That means the institute which invented this rice is named by that institution name. This is the variety of rice. And next is seed rate. You have to think about the seed rate. Seed rates depends on the cultivate procedure, because if you transplant the seed, that means line to line, that time you need less amount of seed. If you broadcast the seed that time you need more seed rate. That means seed rate, when you cultivate in broadcast method, that time you need more seed, and when you cultivate in line method, that means transplant the rice, that time you need less seed. After seed rate, you have to think about the seed treatment. If you do not seed treat properly, that means after transplant or sowing the seed, that seed will be not germinated properly, because sometimes some insects, some fungicide, some fungus attack on the seed. That is why you have to treat the seed with fungicide, like seed treatment like Bavistine, Bavistine, which is a Bavistine, which is a fungicide, then Provax, this type of fungicide. You have to treat the seed with this type of fungicide. You can find this type of seed on the market. After seed treatment, you have to think about the seed bed, because there, I told you before, there will be two methods. One is broadcast method, the other one is transplant method. But nowadays farmer will not apply the broadcast method, because when you do the transplant method, that means you make the line and make the proper distance to seedling, then you can do the interculture operation properly. That is why they do the transplant method. And before that, you have to transplant method, you have to think about the seed bed. In our country, seed bed will be main is two types, which is wet seed bed and the other one is dry seed bed. And in our country we use both seed bed. Wet seed bed means, that means in here the soil will be clay type, that means water stagnant condition in this seed bed. And dry seed bed, there will be not any water condition, water stagnant condition. And the ideal seed bed for both wet and dry seed bed is the length should be 10 meter, and then the width should be 125 centimeter, and the height should be 10 centimeter. And the in between two seed bed, the space, that means the line space is 50 centimeter. This is the ideal size of a seed bed, wet seed bed and dry seed bed. But in our country, farmer can make different type of seed bed, different size of. So it depends of their quantity of the rice field and quantity and their ability of the field. So after seed bed, the next steps of rice cultivation is seed grading. That means you have to collect the good seed. That means your main objective is, if you sowing 100 seed, that means that 100 seed will be grow. Otherwise your profit will be not getting properly. After seed bed, in the seed bed, from the seed bed, you can collect the seedlings about in general after 20 to 30 days later of seedling. That is called 20 to 30 DAS. That means days after seedling. Days after seedling. These seedlings you can collect and transfer to the main field. In main field, you can maintain the proper size and shape, which is, if I draw a seed bed like this, this is one seedling, this is another seedling. In between seedling to seedling distance, maybe in general 10 to 15 centimeter, and then line to line distance might be it depends on the field. It might be 20 to 25 centimeter. You have to make like this, seedling to seedling distance, and and line to line distance. This is the main field requirement. After that, when you transplant the seed, then you before or you transplant the seed, you have to prepare the main field very properly. That means you provide 5 to 6 times plowing on that land and make the land leveled with the help of ladder, and then you provide proper water. Remember that in the initial stage we need lots of water for the main field. That is why in the land you have to provide 3 to 4 inches or centimeter water all the time. 3 to 4 centimeter water all the time in the land in stagnant condition. And remember that before the maturity stage, that means when the grain of rice field is minimum matured or is strong enough, that time you have to stop the irrigation in that field. That means before harvesting the rice, 15 to 20 days before, you have to stop to provide the water supply or irrigation in the main field. And then the other intercultural operation in that field is you have to provide the remove the weed from the field. You can use Japanese rice weeder, or you can manually use remove the weed from the field. If you use the Japanese rice weeder in the field, that time that weed mixed with the soil and decomposed the weed and make the organic fertilizer in the field. This is the and this procedure decrease the apply of fertilizer, and you decrease the costing of the overall production. Then irrigation, I told you always provide the irrigation, and then make sure before 15 to 20 days of maturity, that time you have to provide the drainage system as well. And now the fertilizer system. Fertilizer, if we talk about the fertilizer in the field, we provide urea, TSP, then gypsum, MOP, zinc. Scientists always told that when you apply the fertilizer, before that you have to check the soil properly. But in our country, farmer is not checking the field soil properly. That is the main problem. That means they use overdoses the fertilizer, then it become toxic the soil and it will hamper the soil as well. So before you apply that, you have to check the soil. So when you use urea, TSP, gypsum, MOP, zinc, sometimes some farmer apply cow dung or compost. Remember that except urea, we apply all type of fertilizer at the last ploughing system. That means if you apply 4 to 5 cultivation 4 to 5 cultivation in the land, then when you last time you apply the cultivation, that time you apply all the fertilizer. But only urea you have to make the installment. That means first after seedling, 15 days later, then 15 days later, then 15 days later. Or take the advice from the local agriculture officer. This is the best decision to take the decision from the local agriculture officer. This is the fertilizer application. After fertilizer application, you done weeding, interculture, everything. The two most important part is, one is insect and the other one is disease. This two is very important. That means if you do properly the all activities like seed rate, seed bait, seedlings, cultivation, everything, but if you do not manage these two things, that means you will not get any type of profit from the rice cultivation. For example, if we get for example, if you get 100 tons production from the 1 hectare or 2 hectare land, if we not follow manage these two important things like insect and disease, then the whole field will be destroyed. You will not get the expected production. So now talk about the insect. There is some important or harmful insect for rice is stem borer moth. One is stem borer moth. Then other one is the rice hispa, then rice bug. This is the most important and or most harmful insect of rice. You can find others more like green leaf or everything, but rice hispa, rice bug and stem borer is very important for. You have to look after the details in your books, which is rice hispa. It looks like a thorn in their body, and the rice bug is it stings when it's surrounding in our area. Then stem borer is looks like a butterfly. So these three things you have to look after this. If you found this type of things, then this you have to discuss with the local agriculture officer or experienced farmer for the control for these things. Rice bug, this will suck the grains, juice from the grains. Rice hispa, it will cut the leaf as well as the grain. And stem borer moth, it will as well leave stem, destroy everything. So for this you can find the insecticide from the market. Even when you found this type of attack initial stage, that time you remove that leaf and bury it underneath the soil and destroy it. If you find the larva or the egg of this insect. So this is the important insect, is very important. Then disease. There is some disease of this rice cultivation, which is very important. One is tumro disease. Tumro. The other one is stem rot. Then blast disease. Then blight disease. Tumro disease, its causes is tumro virus. Then stem rot disease is bacterial disease. Blast disease is fungus disease, and blight disease as well fungus disease. So when you found this disease, you have to look up the symptom of disease. Sometimes stem rot, you can find this symptom on the stem. That means stem become rotten. Then blast disease, it looks like that is leaf or stem is little bit fungus spore found on the leaf or stuff. Blight, that means from the far you can find that disease, that plant is looks like a burnt plant. And tumro virus attack is yellowish in the leaf or grain as well as in the stem. So when you found this disease, or if you observe any type of disease in the plant, that time you discuss with the experienced farmer or you discuss with the agriculture officer, and then you have to take the steps, or you have to listen to the agriculture officer what he said. That means you apply fungicide, you apply insecticide, you apply medicine, and you can found this type of medicine on the shop. So this is the most important thing is of rice cultivation. And in your exam you can get lots of MCQ from this today's topic, like variety name, and then climate requirement, the land selection, fertilizer doses, then seed rate, wet seed bed explanation, then um, uh, then insect name and symptoms and control measures, even disease name and causes, and then control measures, everything. So you have to read the thoroughly from your books like 153 to 209. You can find these topics, rice cultivation. Even you can find some CQ as well, like explain the seed bed of wet seed bed or dry seed bed. Or in the exam you can they mention you one disease like blight disease. You can explain the blight disease like causes, symptom and control measures. Even in the insect as well, if they give you the name like rice spot, then you have to memorize the symptoms of attacking of insects, and then you have to control the attacking of control the insects. So this is the example of MCQ and CQ question. So thank you very much for today.